This is Ready, Set, Reiki, a podcast about Reiki, the universal energy life force. From the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, and all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready, Set, Reiki journey, we refer to ourselves as guides rather than hosts, as we too are traveling, supporting each other, and learning on this Reiki journey as well. And with that said, I am your first guide, Tracy C. Wright.
And I'm your second guide, Millie Pampina.
And today, our guest is Csongor Daniel. Now, he was born and raised in Yugoslavia, where he studied engineering, as well as one of the most powerful healing methods of our time. Author of Bioenergy Healing, Simple Techniques to Reducing Pain and Restoring Health through Energetic Healing, as well as 3 other books. And now, an online seminar of the same subject. Chonger teaches internationally and practices in Florida with clients all over the world, thanks to his effective long-distance healing method. His teaching has healed more than 1 million people, and his goal is to teach that many how to heal themselves and others. Welcome, Chonger, to Ready, Set, Reiki.
Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful. So we're going to dive right into the questions here. So our first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit is hard, but yes, I was born and raised.
Tell us it all. Tell us all.
I was born and raised in Yugoslavia, and I did finish engineering in college. But I was met with this amazing, healing method about halfway through college, and it totally changed the purpose of my life and the direction and everything. It all started, just almost like an innocent game, and eventually became something really serious. And so at one point, I worked with 30 people a day in the height of my career there, which happened very fast, within months after getting certified in bioenergy healing. And then in 91, I was here on vacation when the war started in Yugoslavia, and I ended up staying here. Now, as you can imagine, it's not that easy for many reasons. I asked for asylum first because of the war. Eventually, I got to stay, but I could forget about my engineering degree. Also, the healing certification was unknown here, and so I had to take a different route when I decided to stay. I ended up finishing a massage school, which was really interesting. I mean, it was like Disney World compared to engineering school. However, I learned a lot of English at the time. I didn't speak that well, and learned about anatomy, and really learned about the little things that later on became very useful in the healing arts. So I still do massage therapy even nowadays. Not much, but I love the challenge of somebody comes with pain and they leave without. So I'll use pretty much any way to achieve that, whether it's just energy or if it needs eliminating some pressure points, trigger points, and such. So here I am after so many years. I have published several books on energy healing. I have published a few Tai Chi videos and such. In my early years here, first it was about survival. So, I mean, my first job was delivering pizza on a motorcycle, which was my first transportation here, which I got from borrowed money. And, next job was a little bit better. I was a Japanese chef for a while, and then finally switched back to the healing arts and full time. That was 30 years ago. And since then, I taught many classes in Qigong, Tai Chi. A lot of elderly people live here in Southwest Florida. And it was interesting to teach them that, because I realized that, during those classes, I had to talk about the Qi, about the energy. And I realized for the first time that, gee, anybody can feel this and anybody can see this energy. Excuse me. So I changed the whole course because I believed at the time that I was, I was special. I was one of the very few in Yugoslavia who were doing this and who were officially recognized. However, this is just like anything else. Everybody knows math. You and I are no Einstein, but we know math. Same goes with bicycles. Anybody can learn to ride a bicycle. You may not become a Lance Armstrong or such, but you can ride a bicycle. So same goes with healing. Everybody is learned to become a healer. We are naturally healing ourselves. When you cut yourself, it's not the Band-Aid that heals you. It's your body that does it. So it was all about just learning how to convey this knowledge to others. And that has become my basically goal. My teacher healed probably a couple million people by now. He retired recently. That number is just crazy to imagine. I mean, after about 100,000, he figured out what worked and what didn't, and that's how he developed his own method, and that's what we're talking about today. Obviously, after 30 years or so, I added many of my own touches and changed some things. So try to draw different things from other healing modalities and see what works the best. And so, boom, here we are. And this is the result of it. Excuse me. And so this explains pretty much everything you need to know about energy healing, and especially bioenergy healing, which I found to be the most effective and the fastest so far from all the methods that I have studied. And it's something that you can learn in literally a day. If you're a fast reader, by tomorrow you are a healer.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, what a colorful journey you've been on. Amazing. You probably never thought when you took that engineering class, you would be where you are today.
No, absolutely not.
Amazing, amazing. Well, you showed us our book, your wonderful book. So tell our listeners a little bit about the bioenergy healing.
So bioenergy healing itself is, it's based on the same energy that every healing method is based on. Some call it the ki, some call it chi, prana, energy. It's all the same energy. Now, just a quick rundown, really, what this energy is. We have to understand this. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but maybe somebody needs a little visual. So we appear to be solid, right? But deep inside, we know that, heck, this is like 70% water, right? Now, if I jump around, you can't really hear it splashing, right? Because it's contained in like 10 trillion little balloons. We call them cells, but they're basically balloons filled with water. Now, to an outsider, it's literally just a balloon filled with water. It has thousands of ingredients, but for us, let's just look at the water. Now, swim inside that little cell, and you'll find water molecules, right? Hydrogen and oxygen molecules. You jump in those, all of a sudden, everything is thinner. You're in some kind of a gaseous surrounding. Again, many other factors. We're just looking at the big outside picture. You go deep inside, you'll find the atoms. Now, the atomic structure is what defines everything. We have atoms right now, we're breathing them in, but we don't see it, right? So the energy is similar. We don't really see it. We can learn to see it. We see the air only when it's dirty or such. Clean air, you don't see. Energy, you can learn to see. Now, why is that energy around us? Well, look at the atomic structure. You have the nucleus in the middle and electrons traveling around it at certain distances. This is where engineering comes in. I needed to explain everything through logic. I had to know everything through logic. So for those who haven't seen the picture of the atomic structure or such, think of the solar system. You have the sun in the middle and planets traveling around on certain distances. the distances are humongous. It's not like on your teacher's desk, that little model. If the sun is the size of a pea, then Pluto is 1.5 miles away, and it's the size of a bacteria. And in between, you have a few planets, but that's about it. So in the atom, between that nucleus and the electron, again, the distance is humongous. For visual, again, let's take that P, put it in the middle of a stadium. Now, the first electron would be outside the stadium. That little sucker flies so fast around, it's so frisky, that if you could see it with your naked eye, it would be a giant ball the size of a stadium. Yet, besides those two, 99.9999999% of that atom is empty space. Now you get another atom, and then another one, and another one, and boom, here you are. Now, you appear solid, but 99.9999999% of this is empty space. And this space expands as far as you can reach. Your energy goes roughly as far as you can reach. This is when you're at rest. Different when you're standing up or lying down. Big difference. However, this is your normal. This is like the protective shield around the spaceship Enterprise. When the shield is down, you have issues. Okay, then the Klingons can get you or whatever. When the shield is thicker, you're stronger, right? Also, issues can happen if there are blockages in the energy. So some places too much energy piles up, some places too little reaches. So the goal of all healing methods is putting you back in balance. Now, in bioenergy healing, we have different methods of doing that, but everything is systematized. So you start with opening the energy. You can examine the energy field for imbalances. My teacher didn't teach that. He believes that you learn where to put your hands, for how long, what to do, boom, boom, that's it. I believe that you are entitled to know everything. So I teach you how to feel the energy around. You will find places that you didn't know about. Also, I teach people how to see the energy, which is just an awesome visual. You don't really use it in an actual one-on-one session, but when you start doing long distance healing, then it's all visual. And so that's a totally different ballgame, but it's also doable. It's also explained in my book, and you can learn how to do it. And through the long distance healing in the bioenergy healing and in my method, you would learn how to heal yourself. Now, I know you will ask me about this later on, but there are many ways of healing people and healing yourself, or how to keep yourself healthy. So we'll get into that. But one of the main ways of healing yourself, of course, is to keep the energy moving, right? Now, we explained that things happen because it stops moving, blockages, too much energy. Whenever you have a headache, you actually have too much energy around your head. All I do is, it takes me a minute or two, take that excess energy off, and boom, the headache is gone. Now, it's a different thing why you have the headache, why you got it. So we can go into that too. But as far as stopping pain, it's not more than a couple minutes. If you're a beginner, it may take you 5 minutes or 10 minutes tops. That's how easy it is. Other physical injuries, may take a little bit longer. It depends on, if you broke a bone, obviously that will be a tough case. But as far as pain goes, it's quite easy to do with this method. Also, we concentrate on taking the excess energy off, adding energy to the areas that are missing. So overall, balancing the energy. And then, which I don't see in any other method, we jumpstart the energy flow. So we force, like a plunger cleaning your pipes. We clean through it. So each time you get your energy to 100% perfect spot. Now, it's a question of how long you can hold on to it. Some people who were ill for a very long time, that they have a weaker system, it will take them a little bit longer for their bodies to get used to it. So the next time, maybe your energy goes down a little bit, I fill you up again. Then again, it goes down a little bit, fill you up. We keep repeating that until you're at that level where the body is able to hold on to its own energy and circulation. I don't really heal anybody. Uh, Maybe because of the engineering, I like to call this energy engineering. But the point is that I just put the energy back in balance, which enables your body to continue its natural function, which includes healing itself.
Right. What a wonderful description. I love it. And I love
Thanks.
you incorporated Star Trek into it because my daughter's she may listen to this episode. So thank you for sharing that. I love it. So bioenergy healing, did it find you or did you find it?
It's a good question. As I said, I was halfway through college.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard my dad laughing from the other room. His best friend was visiting. They hadn't seen each other for many years. And he was talking about this weird stuff. Like, what is it? Well, this energy around you. Like, I'm listening. And he showed me how to feel the energy. And I realized, like, well, I felt this my whole life. I just didn't know what it was. And he showed me a few moves. And, I kind of tried. Somebody had a headache and I was able to stop it, but it was a weird feeling. My hands were kind of hurting from it and whatnot. I mean, I had no clue, right? There was nothing in literature about it, maybe Far Eastern philosophy and such, but nothing really. And I know I was able to stop my buddy's ankle pain. He was a marathon runner, and he was one of my first experiments. Like, hey man, you feel this? Yeah, you feel this? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, how is it now? And that was it. Just without direction. And then one day, my mom's back was hurting, and that's what changed everything. I was an amateur. I had no idea what I was doing. I kind of visualized pulling the pain out of her back, and she was standing in front of me, and I was pulling this energy out of her back, and all of a sudden she started moving back. And my hand goes forward, my mom goes forward. My hand goes back, my mom goes back. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? She goes, nothing. What are you doing? And we were like, oh my God. I realized I could move her without touching her. And that was, blew my mind. Like, okay, so what do I do with this? you know, well, I went out that night, told my buddies in the pub what happened. And so, yeah, right. Everybody, yeah, right. Um, Obviously, I had to try it, and then it worked. And then by the end of the night, the entire pub was into it. We were betting in beer, who's going to move, who's not. That was the beginning of my brilliant career.
Wonderful. I love it. How magical is that? Wonderful.
Yes. So, in essence, I didn't know what to do with it, and then maybe 2 weeks went by when I heard my mom yelling, and I run in, and on TV, there's a guy bending people and pushing them, pulling them. I'm like, oh, another one, Um, he was on some Adriatic island. Took me a week to track him down, find out who he was. And finally, a hotel employee told me, oh, he's not here anymore.
Oh.
They showed aerial footage of people standing in line, for miles, like curving around these tiny little streets. Um, that went by. Then my marathon runner buddy ran over with the newspaper. He said, hey, there's this professor doing something in Belgrade, measuring energy fields of the body. And so I was able to get in, went through a weekend of tests. They literally measure everything in your body, what you can measure in a radio, amps, ohms, volts, and so on. And he pulled me over at the end, like, hey, in my statistics, you were born to do this, Like,
Wow.
great. So who's going to teach me? I mean, no college, no, I'm an engineering guy, come on. No, I got somebody, I'll introduce you. And so we hopped in the car, went out to the Belgrade, into a hotel, and there he introduced me to Mr. Domancic, the guy from the island. And
Wow. Synchronicity, right?
goosebumps every time. And so, yes, and I ended up studying with him, working with him. And a few months later, I opened my own little practice. The first month, I had maybe 30 patients. 2 months later, I had that many a day.
Oh,
It was all word of mouth. Yeah, Yugoslavia was a lot more open to alternative treatments. And in
yeah,
general, Europe is. So I didn't have to talk much about it or explain. It was just, it's enough to stop somebody's headache. The next day, the entire street knows about it.
right. Right.
So,
Beautiful. Beautiful. What a wonderful story. Thank you for
yeah.
sharing that with
Oh,
us.
thank you.
So, 30 years of experience. Uh, what do you think is the common misperception about your work?
Hmm. That it's something supernatural or metaphysical or whatever, something weird. When, my whole life, my goal was to prove that is something that this is physical. This is actually, I always use quantum physics to explain it. And we know nothing about anything really. If you look at the size of the universe, if the universe was only this small, we still would know nothing about it. We perceive 0.0001% of anything around us. Right now, there are millions of frequencies going through you and me. We don't perceive them, right? There are cosmic rays, radio waves, Wi-Fi signals, whatnot. We don't we don't see it. We don't see anything below and above our our range, our frequency range. Your dogs or dog, I don't know how many you have, they don't see the rainbow. You can tell your dog, look, it's right there. And he's like, no, I can't see it. So I can talk to people. Yeah, your energy is right there. I don't see it. So in essence, it comes from both ways, whether scientific explanation or the other hand, I would have to constantly move people like, yeah, can you feel it? Yeah, okay, I feel it now. Because they don't believe until they experience it. Yet it's really not such a supernatural thing. Again, anybody can learn to do it. In my experience, about 90% of people can feel the energy within the first 5-10 minutes. And 90% can see it within the first 5-10 minutes. Um, Not necessarily both, but there's a very small percentage of people who can't perceive either. It doesn't mean that the energy still doesn't work or that they can't do any healing. It's just, it's missing from that little 0.0001%. And that's all.
Wow. Beautiful. Well, what has been the biggest challenge that you have faced in this profession?
Well, that comes back to the same question, like explaining myself each time. Um, I do a seminar in front of a bunch of doctors and then show them and stop the headache. And out of all of them, there'll be a very little percentage approaching me afterwards, like, wow, that was cool. Can I learn it? Or how can I learn this faster? Or, information about it. I had quite a few medical doctors who were my students and who are applying this in their practices, which is really cool. And met some amazing brains along my trips around the world, teaching it, and learned a lot through them. So I don't really feel a big challenge anymore because I get used to it. But it's always the same challenge. You meet somebody, if you're a baker, you don't have to explain what you're doing every time, right? Oh yeah, well I take the flour and I mix it with water, and so I have to explain my profession all the time.
Yeah, certainly we do, don't
But
we?
then I would just say, you know what, just go and read the book.
Read the book.
And don't
Read the
ask me
book. He wrote the
questions.
book on it. Absolutely. So, what do you wish your younger self knew about this profession?
Mm. I think if I knew too much as my younger self, I would have missed out on many lessons.
Hmm.
So I would have just told my younger self to continue without doubt. Should I stay in engineering? Should I do this? Should I, no, just go for it. Wherever your heart leads you, which I did take, but there were so many obstacles and so many, when your country disappears, that's also an obstacle and such. So, um, I don't know. I mean, I think you need the challenges. So I probably wouldn't say anything to my younger self. I tell her to work out a little bit more, maybe brush my teeth more or whatnot. But
Very good.
in essence, I wouldn't give out any big secrets because this is how you learn.
It's how you learn on your journey. Absolutely.
Yes.
Wonderful answer. So, when it is time for you to get your energetic tune up, what do you look for in an energy practitioner? What qualities?
Quite frankly, I haven't really had an energy practitioner work on me for God knows how long. I let some of my students, I don't even know, last year before, work on me. I mean, we do that as an exchange, but I don't really need any kind of tune-up. So coming back to the very beginning of our conversation, what's the secret to health, really? Um, yes, you can learn how to heal yourself through this method very easily through a little daily meditation. Boom, no big deal. But I realized it dawned on me a few years ago that the last time I went to a doctor was in 1989.
Wow.
I remember I had bronchitis or something. I was coughing. And soon after that, I started doing the energy healing. And it just came to me like, gee, I've been teaching this, that the obstacles, cause the problems, blah, blah. So every time I work on somebody, it's not my energy that I'm using off. I'd run out of it pretty soon. But this energy is everywhere. It's like the air. So you breathe it in and you breathe it out. As if I just took a deep breath and I blew it on somebody. Is the same way my body pulls in the energy and gives it out to somebody wherever I direct it, whether it's through my hands or through my mind or so. So in essence, each time this happens, the energy flows through me, and each time it prevents the formation of the obstacles, as if you were flushing the toilet all the time, constantly. So it's always fresh energy coming through, and that's the secret.
Oh, wonderful.
It's that simple. So in essence, the more you work on others, the more energy goes through you, the healthier you become. The bigger the crowd, the bigger the health, I guess.
Wow.
Um, as Muhammad Ali said, it's better to give than to receive.
Very good. Very good. So you are one of the most recognized bioenergy healers from Yugoslavia. You offer light and humorous lectures that are entertaining and fun and educational, but you also are the published author. You have all this experience, very well traveled. What advice would you give someone who is just entering this profession?
Well, practice on everybody and anybody. You can practice on your animals, plants, anything live, uh, anything not live. You can move the energy and keep practicing. So feeling it, seeing it is awesome, but in essence, your goal is to keep moving it. Okay, so everything else, well, yeah, read my book. That's my advice. But obviously, everything comes with experience, and you'll have the same problem with two different people, and it will be two different approach or results or such. So everybody's so different.
Very good. And what you said about your book leads into our next question. What books do you recommend?
Well, number one, bioenergy healing, of course. Um, there are so many books on energy healing. Some way back, like 30 years ago, I think by Gerber, um, energetic energy medicine or something like that. That one it dwells into the science, gets more into the vibrations and the atoms and such, if you like the scientific part of it. Otherwise, any book on any energy healing will give you something. Even if you're practicing for so many years, something new will come up. I have a lot of students who are Reiki practitioners. I had a Reiki master here a few years ago from Canada. He was practicing it at teaching for 30 years. After our, I don't know, 6-hour seminar, he came to me and he says, well, I'm done with Reiki. I'm going to start doing it. And then he showed up at another seminar a few months later, and it was filled with Reiki practitioners. And somebody asked, so what's the difference between Reiki and bioenergy healing? And he says, well, can I answer that? And he stood up and he said, it's like Reiki on steroids. So, I mean, there are some big differences in the two systems, but obviously you have to learn it to see what it is.
Right. I always tell people, find your right one, right? Like with Goldilocks and the three bears, she
Yes.
found her just right. Just find your right one. You might have started on Reiki, but doesn't mean you necessarily have to end there. It can take you anywhere on this journey.
There will be all kinds of experiences. You don't know where it comes from. You know, for a brief moment when I finished college, maybe for a day or two, I thought, that was it. I don't have to learn anything else in my life. Yeah, I was so wrong. Day 3 already. Anyway, yeah, it's a very powerful method. I recommend it to anybody. Learn some other methods if you want to, or start with the best. It's up to you.
Yeah.
I just claim it's the best because it's mine. There may be something even better.
Sure.
You know, I just haven't met it yet. However, it's effective in pretty much anything. You know, you don't look at it from a medical point of view. Give problems names. It's just problem in energy circulation, and so tumors disappear, cancer disappears, headaches disappear. You know, healing processes improve. Good for athletes, good for anyone. You know, I mean, you want to be in your optimal range all the time, right?
Right.
So,
right.
and if you get the promise of, hey, if you work on somebody every day, you may not get sick ever again. Would that make you think, or would you do that?
Of course.
You know, why not?
Wonderful. So, what other modalities do you offer?
I love massage therapy. I love that it speeds up some of these processes. So when it's muscular or neuromuscular issues or skeletal issues or such, you can speed up those processes. I love the challenge of it. You know, finding the spots and fixing it. I also do qigong, tai chi. I published a double DVD many years ago, but that was also with seniors around here, so it was a lot of fun. For a while, I taught at the Warm Mineral Springs. It's Southwest Florida, 87 degrees year round. It's basically a hole in the ground with nice salty water in it. And I had students who were doing it in the water while I was teaching outside. So that was a lot of fun.
Wow.
Usually about 80 or more people would show up. So that was amazing. The rest I kind of slowly stepped away from. I'm concentrating more and more on teaching the energy healing. A few years ago, when everybody stayed home for some reasons, my cousin was stuck here with me at the time, visiting from Budapest, and he's a filmmaker. So we made an online course of bioenergy healing, as if you were at my seminar. Plus, he added special effects. So when you're looking at the energy, it's added what you were supposed to see, and a lot of special effects throughout. So that's a 7-video seminar, basically, or online course. It's all available. I have all the links on my website, so I'm sure he'll mention
wonderful.
that.
And that'll link into our next question. Where can our listeners find you? And
Oh,
where
there
they
you
can
go.
sign up. There you go. Perfect.
So yeah, chongordaniel.com. It's CSONGOR Daniel.com. I have links to the school from there. I have links to there's a Facebook page that's devoted to long distance bioenergy healing, and that's a group healing. So I work on people that are not present. I have clients in Australia, Canada, everywhere. I meditate every morning and I work on them from literally this room and then write the reports to them of my findings and so back and forth communication. However, um, yeah, I mean it's one of those things that took over during COVID, and so I did much less massages, much less of the training. I used to do personal training as well. Um, I have one client that I promised I will never drop, so I've been training her like 20 years or so, and I have a very interesting clientele. Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Chonger. This ends our journey together. So thank you so much for answering our questions. And I'm going to pass you over to my co-guide, Millie Pampina, where she will ask you 3 social media questions.
And thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. I was so immersed in your enthusiasm, and it was so infectious. And thank you for bringing this to us. What a treat. And loved your story. Congratulations
Thank you.
on, how far you've come, and that you've maintained this beautiful, beautiful light attitude of, what you're trying to accomplish and helping people. So very much appreciated, and it's a good example for all of us. So we have 3 social media questions. Tracy gathers these from our listening and viewing audience, and we boil them down to what we feel is possibly the most relevant. And the first one we have is right along the lines with some of your accomplishments. I read that you are an author of children's books. Tell us about your books.
I happen to have one right here. So the story was, Grandpa was here and I was working on his painful knees. And while I was working on one knee, my 2-year-old daughter, Kylie, walked up and she started mimicking my moves on the other knee. And we were all laughing. It was so cute. And all of a sudden, Grandpa went like, whoa, wait a second. I can feel that. Like, really? Yeah, I can feel the same exact thing. And so she finished with me and the pain stopped in both knees. And again, it's one of those mind-blowing moments. So we started practicing, feeling the energy, seeing the energy. And to a 2-year-old, it's like you practicing picking up a glass or something, right? It's natural.
Mm-hmm.
By the time she had a sister, both of them I would put down to sleep at night while we were like looking at the energy between our hands and, seeing the aura around. And it was just like one of those, pleasant, really heartwarming things every night. So when Kylie was 9, I wrote a book about that experience. It's like a little children's story that explains this experience. And there's her picture when she was 9, her drawing or a painting of Grandpa and the knee right there.
Beautiful.
And she illustrated the whole book throughout. And it's like the end where she was working on her teacher's headache and such, it has happy ending, but through the story, the reader, the child learns how to feel and how to see the energy and can try it. And eventually, at the end of the story, see the happy ending from it. And Kylie is a high school art teacher today.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's available on Amazon and everywhere where books are sold. It's The Girl with the Healing Hands.
beautiful. What I also, take away from it is your sense of pride there, and also again that smile. You
Oh,
just
absolutely, absolutely.
you
I mean,
warm up.
nothing nicer when kids learn your profession or pick it up or such. They are not doing it, don't get me wrong. They have their goals, their
Hmm.
uh, um, dreams and such, but this is part of it. When they were little, they were not reaching for the pain medication or something. They didn't even know what that was. So,
Hmm.
fall down, ooh, elbow, ooh, quickly, let's throw the pain away, grab it and throw it away. And you learn the technique just like that, in real life, like a
Beautiful.
monkey climbing the tree.
All
So I,
natural.
I I wish that all kids would, read that book and learn
Hmm.
the same experience.
Absolutely. I
It
am
it's
planning
not
on
it's
getting it. Yeah, I'm
it's
going to get
not
it
an
from.
easy world to grow up in. I mean, if any of the kids watch evening news, all you see
Mhm.
is medication. There's more
Right.
commercials about medication than actual news, and things that I've never heard of, like terms and such that come up with. You're thinking, well, how many people are they talking to in those commercials, or who are they talking to?
Yeah,
And so, yes, your health is the most important thing on the planet. And as a child, you have to learn that right away.
absolutely. Yeah, I am looking forward to getting that for my grandsons. I think that in this day and age, they could definitely take advantage of that.
Hmm.
Um, there's so much pressure on children. I just am trying to look for more natural and, you know, natural ways and ways that are making more sense than turning to the internet for everything and medication and all
Well,
these other.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with turning to the internet
Mhm.
because first time in history, we have the power of gods. I mean, you
Okay.
just push a few buttons and every question is answered.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you have to sift through the answers to find the right one, but it's amazing that we have this ability, so much information. We should use it. Really, it's
Yeah.
most
Okay.
people use their phones for what? We know what they use them for. So anyway, but they are right there. The universe is talking to us, right? Giving us all the knowledge. Just have to grab it and pull it out.
Great. That's a good perspective of that, and I appreciate you bringing that up. The second question I have along those lines is healing and teaching. What are your other passions?
We can talk about that for a long time. I'm a biker. I build and ride motorcycles. I've had over 25 of my own builds.
Hmm.
Um, but actually traveling on a motorcycle is the bigger passion. I have one in Budapest for the last 12 years. So when I fly to Europe, I fly to Budapest, stay with my cousin a little bit, hop on the bike, and then I go from there to teach. I, I've
Mm.
I've ridden to Romania, I mean all over Europe, and literally I would go there and do the teaching. So the year before, my fiance and I went from Budapest up to the Alps. I did a week-long seminar there. This year we will have to be 2 weeks because the first week is already sold out. You'll find information on my website. We're in the most beautiful spot up in the Alps.
Mm.
And 1 week of just cleansing, you clean your mind, you clean your lungs. We do qigong every morning. We do meditation every day. Plus, you learn everything that's in the book and more. So if
Mhm.
you leave as an energy healer after that week. And so that's also passion. I learned to combine the two. And so I look for that combination many times.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank
Love
you.
the idea that you're out there in nature riding
It's
your
awesome. No, my only
bike.
problem is that I have amazing travel companions, but I can only take one at a time. So, last year we went with my daughter. We did the Balkans tour. Year before, my fiance in the Alps. We're gonna do it again. They're all awesome. I don't know how to, put so many people on one bike. So I have to do more trips and oh well. You know.
Well, at least you're thinking in that direction. So that's great.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So, but I do everything else, everything that's has something to do with engineering or such.
Mhm.
My grandfather was a famous wood carver, so I continued. I do some wood carving once in a while. I built most of my furniture. Um, I don't know. I need a chill pill, I guess, or such.
No, I think you need to keep going because I appreciate your I appreciate your energy and your enthusiasm. It's infectious,
Mm.
and I love to see that. So thank you. The third and final question we have here is living a life of service. What is the one piece of advice or a mantra you would offer to someone who is struggling on their healing journey?
On their own healing journey. Um, well, this is a very big picture now. Okay. Everything is Zen. It's always the matter of perspective.
Mhm.
Um, I had a good example that I told my kids way back when, and somehow it stayed with them forever. Um, it was like a rainy day, and two guys are looking out the window. One guy goes like, "Ah, crap. I hate this weather. I hate the rain. I can't play golf. I can't be outside." And goes on and on, all negative. The other guy looks out like, "Hey, this is such a beautiful weather. Listen to that rain. It's good for the grass. I can stay inside with my favorite book and happy and healthy, right?" So you have one guy, the other one relaxed. Now, the big question is, did either one of them change the weather? No. So I choose to be the guy who enjoys whatever it is that I'm looking at. No matter how bad situation you were in your life, you're still here, right?
Yeah.
So it's safe to guess that whatever bad situation comes up, I'll overcome that one too, right? And then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So when I look back at some of those bad situations, meh, no big deal now. When you're in the middle of it, you just concentrate on that
Mhm.
rain coming down, damn it, then you're taken over by that negativity, which weakens your energy. So think positive and happy all the time.
Yeah.
Everything has different angles. You just find that positive angle. If you don't see it, don't worry about it. It's there. Everything in the universe is made of positive and negative particles, right? One
Mhm.
doesn't exist without the other. So no matter what happens, there's something equally positive attached. It's there. That's it. All you need to do is know that it's there.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That's words to live by. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Now, with that's our third and last question. But again, while you've been talking and we've been talking, have you recalled anything or thought of something that you still might want to bring forward to the audience? I'm absolutely certain they'd love to hear it.
I think the actually, yes, the most important thing in your life is your health, right?
Mhm.
Um, but the only thought that is really worth having is positive, positive thinking. And that's pretty much it. If you go by that, a smile brings a smile back. Everything is a magnet.
Yeah.
And the more of the positivity you radiate, the more you get back. The more love you give, the more love you get back. That's all. Live by it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure meeting you. And I
Thank you.
am Millie Campina, your co-guide here on Feather Sister Wellness, Ready, Set, Reiki. And at this time, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate all your beautiful insight and your enthusiasm. I'm going to turn this back over to Tracy.
Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
Thank you so much for being on this journey with us. It has been truly enlightening, and I know our listeners are just going to love every second of this.
Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful. So if you have a question for any of our guests, please look us up at www.readysetreiki.com or find us out on social media. You can also check out our Feather Sister Wellness platform, where we have yoga, meditation, Reiki, and Reiki trainings. So make sure to check that out. We have lots of events coming up, lots of trainings. So my name is Tracy Seawright, and this has been Ready, Set, Reiki.